The environment is now on the agenda of nations and organizations around the world. Since the late 1970s, the Asian Development Bank has been evolving a program to protect the environment. This program includes major loans and grants to protect the environment, institution building, research, education, and training, and other components. The Asian Development Bank also scrutinizes every one of its loans and grants for its impact on the environment. This presentation examines in detail this one aspect of the bank's environmental program, the bank's special project processing procedures to protect the environment. To understand what the bank is doing on behalf of the environment, one must follow a project through all 6 stages of the bank's project cycle, from inception to post-evaluation. The first stage in the project cycle is project identification. A lot of work goes into this stage. In close consultation with each developing member country, the bank sets out a long-term program for each country. It also lists all potential projects which the bank may be asked to finance. Within the bank, this process is called the program cycle. Under the leadership of the programs departments, bank staff fan throughout Asia and the Pacific for a once-a-year programming mission to each developing member country. For guidance, the programming mission carries with it a management-approved position paper. This position paper contains specific terms of reference for the programming mission, including directives regarding the environment. Even at this early stage, bank staff begin considering the environment. For example, they actively search for potential projects within the government's priorities, which have specific environmental goals. To assist them, they carry along a document prepared for this purpose. This document identifies environmental concerns within the country and provides examples of environment projects for possible funding. It also lists environment agencies and non-governmental organizations that the mission should visit for an exchange of ideas. Through this exercise, each developing member country is encouraged to develop environment-specific projects. The country programming mission also looks for environmental concerns that may affect each proposed project. Toward this purpose, the mission consults other documents prepared by the bank's Office of the Environment. These background papers help bank staff identify projects which will require an environmental assessment. And finally, the programming mission maintains dialogue with the government about long-term environmental priorities and policies, their post-UNCTAD, and specifically their Agenda 21 environmental action programs. It also identifies any operational changes which may concern the bank. After the country programming mission returns to bank headquarters, the bank prepares a country program paper. This paper spells out the bank's projected program for the next 3 years. It always includes a section specifically about the environment. The bank classifies all projects in the pipeline according to the severity of their impact on the environment. Severe impact, requiring detailed environmental impact assessment. Moderate impact, usually requiring an initial environmental examination. Little impact. The environment categories of these projects are approved by the Chief of the Bank's Office of the Environment. Once the projects are classified, the bank identifies specific environmental problems in Category A and selected B projects, along with recommendations about mitigation measures. This information is summarized in a report circulated to concerned departments for review and discussion. With potential problems identified, The bank develops a work program for each project requiring attention during the next 3 years. The work program may call for as little as monitoring by bank project officers to full-scale environmental assessments throughout project preparation and implementation. Work program recommendations are also circulated to programs and projects departments for comment. By this mechanism, project staff begin to follow environmental considerations at the earliest stages of project preparation. The bank also keeps its developing member countries informed. At the beginning of each year, the bank communicates with official contacts, environmental agencies, and non-governmental agencies in each developing member country, letting them know about upcoming projects with environmental implications. In these ways, issues about the environment are put forth before the developing member country and the bank at the very outset. The second stage of the project cycle is project preparation. Although the borrower assumes the major burden for project preparation, the bank ensures that the project is formulated to its satisfaction. At this stage, the bank fields a 3 to 5 person fact-finding mission to gather basic information about the proposed project. For environmentally sensitive projects, the mission carries instructions to look specifically into environmental issues. When significant problems are expected, the bank undertakes an initial environmental examination. As necessary, the initial examination is followed by an environmental impact assessment. This assessment establishes the necessary measures to be incorporated into the project design. In some cases, this leads to project reformulation. Bank officers and consultants who conduct these missions turn for guidance to the bank's Office of the Environment, which has prepared a series of publications containing guidelines and advisory notes. Bank environment specialists meet personally with officers and consultants to provide project-specific advice. All the basic information about the project, including environmental considerations, are compiled in a project brief. This brief is circulated to upper management as well as relevant departments. Following this extensive fact-finding is a major milestone, the management review meeting. At this time, environmental concerns are reviewed and specific issues identified for resolution during appraisal. Throughout this fact-finding phase, the Office of the Environment has monitored project preparation to prevent concept and design errors that may be difficult and costly to correct at a later stage. The third stage in the project cycle is appraisal. At this stage, all project issues are resolved and foundations laid for implementing and evaluating the project. The bank reviews environmental examinations and impact assessments. Where necessary, project officers and environment specialists consult with counterparts in the borrowing country. Together, they see to it that specific measures are incorporated into project plans. Also at this stage, economists often enter the picture. To the extent possible, they analyze environmental costs and benefits. For guidance, the economists turn to a source document prepared for this purpose. The project departments, with the assistance of programs departments, prepare a report and recommendation of the president. This report, which forms the base for approval by the board of directors, carries mandatory sections on environmental considerations. It goes through a final sequence of interdepartmental review and approval, assuring yet another round of environmental review. The fourth stage of the project cycle is loan negotiations and approval. At this point, the Office of General Counsel plays a key role. Armed with a reference document about the borrowing country's environmental legislation, bank attorneys hammer out loan covenants. They incorporate agreements about environmental measures involved in the project. Loan documents are finalized through negotiations with the borrowing country. The project then goes to the board of directors for approval. Environmental considerations come directly to the attention of the board in the report and recommendation of the president and the loan documents. The board often specifically reviews environmental considerations before the project receives final approval. With project approval, however, the project cycle does not come to an end. The fifth step of the cycle is implementation. Bank staff review the project throughout its implementation. Environmental considerations receive specific attention. To provide guidance, the Office of the Environment issues annually a report identifying projects requiring review. This review also ensures that mitigation measures covered by loan covenants are carefully implemented. At the completion of a project, bank staff prepares a project completion report, which includes specific assessment of the project's impact on the environment. The sixth and final stage of the project cycle is post-evaluation. The bank's post-evaluation office sends officers throughout Asia to evaluate bank projects. The Office of the Environment pinpoints projects requiring environmental analysis and each year prepares a report to guide post-evaluation missions in this work. The missions look into environmental measures adopted, their effectiveness, and their effect on project costs and performance. The results are presented in a report to the President and are circulated throughout the bank. It provides information and insights that are helpful in future project development. The Office of the Environment annually notifies project departments about consultants' reports which must be submitted for its review. The office studies these reports for insights that may affect future projects. To keep up with these growing demands to ensure environmental consideration at all stages of the project cycle, the bank has developed a new mainframe computer-based environmental monitoring information system. This system provides the environmental profile and history of all loan and project preparatory technical assistance throughout the project cycle and alerts bank officers and management about upcoming actions requiring attention. Bank staff and management have online access to information presented above. Throughout this process, from conception to post-evaluation, the environmental aspects of each project are scrutinized by many different people. Project officers, program officers, officials and planners in the borrowing country, economists, ADB attorneys, post-evaluation officers, the bank's upper management, and the bank's board of directors. Through it all, ADB's Office of the Environment orchestrates, supports, and monitors this intensive review. These are the procedures established by the Asian Development Bank to protect the environment. Procedures that are implemented by people throughout the bank. While these procedures account for only one aspect of ADB's environment program, their importance cannot be overstated. No loan is approved by the bank without thorough environmental review.